Hello and welcome to TSK F1. My name's Rich and we're back for 2023. We got a little bit disjointed at the back end of 2022 just because life and other commitments and things like that, but we're back and should be live mostly Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. with different sort of videos posted during the day as well through the week, and hopefully doing F1 watch-alongs as well. Hopefully we'll be back for some of that this season as well. Now, the camera might flash to black. I don't know why it's doing it, but I'm getting replacement parts that should be here on Thursday at some point. So hopefully it's not going to be too bad and affect the stream too much. But without further ado, let's get into the first stream of 2023 with some, well, it's not necessarily, well, it isn't F1 related, but this chap is a legend, so I thought I would bring it to you guys. Carlos Sainz Snr. Reports are evolving right now about Carlos Sainz Snr., who has had a serious accident during the Dakar rally in his Audi, and there are some conflicting reports that I'm reading that he has basically crashed, and it says here, a tweet says he lost control of his Audi Sport after 6 kilometers and has thrown in the towel, still suffering from pain in the right side of his torso, and he's been airlifted to hospital. And there was some reports that he'd actually made it to hospital. This is Carlos Sainz Jr., and this appears to be developing right now because the article I was reading has been updated since I was putting the stream together like 30 minutes ago. And there's been an update here from the Dakar Twitter saying, new episode in the Carlos Sainz saga, the Spaniard asked the medical helicopter on its way to the hospital to turn round and take him back to his car, and is now sat waiting for assistance at their vehicle. So it sounds like this absolute legend of the game had a massive off, bad enough that he got airlifted, like they wanted to take, precautions and stuff, and on his way to hospital, he said, no, mate, take me back to my car. I want to be at my car. So hopefully he's all good. Hopefully he was just like maybe violently winded and it's really done him in for, a little while, and he's all good. But I thought I'd bring you that news because Carlos Sainz Snr. is a legend in motorsport. And as I was reading it initially this morning, camera. As I was reading it initially this morning, it didn't. Oh, I might have to sort out my camera. The joys of being live, guys. Just give me a little moment here. Yeah, as I was reading it this morning, it wasn't that it seemed particularly bad. Well, I mean, he's been hospitalized, but like it seemed as though, it deserved reporting because the guy, like I say, the guy's a legend. I'm just trying to get my camera back here. We're having issues with it, which I have remedied or will be remedying with new stuff, which is on its way to fix it, but it's going to be a couple of days. But Carlos Sainz Snr. airlifted to hospital and asked them to turn the helicopter around. So I was going to say thoughts with him, but hopefully he's all good, guys. Hopefully he's all good. But I thought I'd bring you that. Now, back to more F1 matters. Now, we all are very aware now, Binotto has left Ferrari. Oh, the camera is not happy with me this morning. Binotto has left Ferrari, and reports are suggesting now that he might be on extended gardening leave, so that he may actually not be able to work within F1 for 12 months. Now, gardening leave is super, super common in lots of industries, and it's just to say that you won't work for one of our competitors and there'll be terms on it. It won't be against him working at all it'll just be against him working probably in motorsport and with other teams and things like that. But, you know, he could go off being, you know, how some of the engineers have swapped over and gone and done, is it the America's Cup in sailing? He could probably get away and go off and do that, but he just can't work within F1 and things for 12 months. And the talk is that he took quite a substantial severance package to do that. Like, they had gardening leave, but Ferrari wanted to extend it, and they've paid him a lot more money for him to take 12 months. Because there was early talk with Binotto, actually, that many teams, I believe, I can't remember exactly, but we did report it on the channel, 4 teams had been in touch with him. And I remember one of them being touted as McLaren. So many teams had been in touch with him to try and get hold of him after his resignation. And that was quite well documented. And I seem to think McLaren, actually, you know, in the events since, it makes more sense that McLaren may have been in touch with Binotto, doesn't it? Because if you think about it, at the time I reported that about McLaren being in touch with Binotto, we had no idea Andreas Seidel was going to Alfa Romeo. We had no idea that was happening. So I think there's truth in that. I think there's truth in that, you know. And it's, yeah, Sauber, yeah, exactly. So Audi were after him and McLaren were after him. So, and it would make sense that something was going on there, right? That makes sense now. Now we're looking back at it with some hindsight. It does make sense, doesn't it, guys? It's funny, isn't it, how you can connect the dots sometimes with rumor and speculation. It might still be untrue, but it certainly makes sense. Now, I'm going to apologize again for the camera. If it goes black, if it freezes, there's something going on in this whole setup, and I've ordered new cables and things like that. I apologize. I know it's not great for a streamer, but hopefully in the next couple of days, sometime Thursday, Friday, it's going to be fixed. So, yeah, Binotto there. Honestly, I didn't really have a problem with the guy, and I think he was on an upward trajectory at Ferrari. I honestly did, and I think Ferrari have been harsh. I've got no problem with Vasseur, and I think he's going to do perfectly well, but I just felt like it was a little bit harsh. There was the results, while tactically some things happened, I think there was a lot to look at. Genuinely from a purely statistical point of view, there was a lot to look at and go, Ferrari are a team on the up, right? Since like 2019-ish, I think. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I still feel like there was more to come. So on to the next thing. Nick de Vries. Now, let's swap me over to here. Nick de Vries. Toto Wolf. It's a shame after working his way through Ferrari, it ends like that. Yeah, and I mean, it has for a few people. Actually, I want to just go back. I don't have a picture of the chap, but do you guys remember Arvabene? That was I think he was team principal before, the one before Binotto, right? Arvabene. And he was like the silver-haired, I don't know, fairly stereotypical Italian type of chap. What I would figure is fairly. Do you guys remember him? This is a random fact that I'm just coming out with. But anyway, the Silver Fox. Random fact that I found out the other day. Well, actually, a few weeks ago. He is the CEO of the Juventus football team. I had no idea. He went from Ferrari to being the CEO and head guy at Juventus. I had no idea until the other day. Literally no clue whatsoever. I don't know. It just made me think. I don't think I've said that on stream. So, yeah, random fact. There you go. That's why Juventus are doing terrible then. Well, in the recent... recently when everyone left Juventus, this is how I found out. when everyone left Juventus, you know, the sacked all the board and everything like that, the only person remaining was Aravabene. And I was just like, wait, because I read it in an article and I was like, no, Aravabene? That can't be the same guy. And then there's a picture of him like this, in this like a suit, looking all nicely tanned with his white hair. What a man. What a man. Anyway, Nick de Vries. Now, I really like these quotes here, right? So Toto Wolff has been talking about Nick de Vries and his going to AlphaTauri. And these quotes are really, really good. These are coming from, I cannot say this, but it's I cannot pronounce it, but it's a Polish website, and put the direct quotes, and they sound real enough. And he was asked about, you know, what if Nick de Vries does really, really well at AlphaTauri? And he said, I thought about it, he said, and he expressed his hope that he stays there and that he hopes that Nick is successful at AlphaTauri. I hope he will be so good to make it into a Red Bull seat one day because he deserves that. And this line I really like. And then we take it like sportsmen and we fight it out. I really, really like that. That last line there. We take it like sportsmen and we fight it out. And he was saying how they considered him for a race Mercedes seat. And you know what? I think look on the face. I have no reason to distrust or not believe that from Toto Wolff. I just thought I'd bring that to you guys. Obviously, we're in the off season, so quotes are few and far between at the minute. Things are happening, but you know, it's nice. It's nice when someone's just nice and not combative, and he's saying we take it like sportsmen, and we fight it out. How well do you think Nick de Vries is going to do at AlphaTauri? Do you think he's going to be a success? Is Tsunoda, isn't it, his teammate? So who do you think he's going to outscore Tsunoda, right? You'd think, wouldn't you? I think he would. I think it's still Tsunoda at AlphaTauri, isn't it? I think he would outscore Tsunoda, personally. And I think he's going to impress a lot of people. I really, really do. Because he's like Piastri, who we're going to speak about soon. He's like Piastri in that he should have been in F1 a while ago, right? Piastri's younger, but De Vries is what Piastri was 5 years ago, sort of thing. So he has to if he wants a career in F1. Yeah, well, I mean, how many years has he got left in him? This is the thing. How many years has he got left in him? It's an interesting one. But, yeah. On to the next thing then. Renault Sports. Now, it's interesting who these quotes are coming from in regard to Alpine and Renault, because they had a lot of problems this last season with reliability. And trust me, being an Alonso fan, I'm well aware of them having issues. They just seem to have reliability, whether it's the electricals, whether it's the internal combustion engine, whether it's something to do with the hybrid system, like mechanical. It's they always seem to have problems. And it's interesting that the executive director of Renault's engine department has come out and said that he expects the FIA to be stronger in the future. He doesn't have any information on this, but he thinks that the FIA are going to look a lot closer at requests made by engine manufacturers to change engines and to make changes under the guise of reliability. Now, he doesn't seem to be being accusing of anyone, but I'll read you the quote. This is Bruno Famin. His name is. I think the process in 2022 with the FIA and other manufacturers has been quite good. This was to motorsport.com. It has transpired at least, so everyone was aware of the request of the others, and that's very good. and it's been well managed by the FIA. So basically, if Ferrari go in and request something, everyone else knows. If McLaren go in and request something, everyone else knows. It's been quite tolerant in 2022. I think it's been quite normal because everyone was affected by reliability issues, not only us. Clearly, because I think we had 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 requests from different manufacturers. So everyone was affected by this kind of problem. I'm expecting the FIA to be a bit stronger in the future, but I have no information. And I think this does open up an interesting question because he's not being accusationary there, but I can't help but feel, I don't really like doing this, but I can't help but read between the lines on what he's saying here. He's saying that it was transparent and you could see the requests, but the way he's saying he expects them to be stronger about it in the future, do we think he's coming at that from an angle like, let's say Ferrari, that Ferrari were doing stuff under the guise of reliability when really it wasn't for reliability, and it was more for performance and things, you know. I don't know if that's what he's getting at. It seems an interesting thing for him to say about the FIA being stricter. It's sort, I don't know. I don't really like reading into things that haven't been said, but it seems a little bit politicky, this whole thing, as if to say, well, we didn't do anything other than reliability stuff and we were okay, but I expect the FIA to be stronger on this because everyone else asked for loads of stuff as well. I don't know. I could be reading more into that than he's actually. I mean, he doesn't say that, and I very much believe in you have to read what is said. But this is Renault, and they definitely, you know, they definitely stir the pot. Oh, I've just scrolled down, and there is actually another part of the quote. He is stirring the pot, I think. So he continued, what is a pure, genuine reliability issue? It's a question we can't answer. Behind the reliability issue, you have often a potential performance gain, of course. The limit is not always super clear. If you have a water pump issue, as we had in 2022, I think it's quite clear it's a pure reliability issue, right? There is nothing to gain in having a different water pump. But if you need to change the material of the piston rings, you'll be able to have something stronger, to have more knock, to have more performance. Then where is the limit? It's not obvious. So what I was just reading between the lines of, he's just basically come out and said, now he's not directly going Ferrari, Honda, so on and so forth. You've done this, but he can see the requests. Because he said that in the other quote, he said that it was transparent and you can see the requests from the other manufacturers. And I have to agree, and this is something I've wondered for a very long time, right? He is saying it's managed well and it's transparent, but where is the performance? How, if you've got a water pump and it's a spec part and like, I don't know, you need to improve the bearing because it keeps failing, so you need a bearing in a water pump, I don't know. And you need to improve that, but it's a fairly spec part. It's, you know, that's one thing. But if you're, like he says, changing the material of the piston rings and things like this, where does the performance gain end and where is that measured and how is that controlled? You know, it's an interesting one. And I don't know. Are there any manufacturers that you think might take advantage of this? I mean, all of them would if they could, I think. But are there any that you have looked at and think, that's fishy? Now, the only one I would say, but logic dismisses it almost immediately, is Honda. But Honda are not working on their engine apart from genuine reliability stuff. They're not offering any budget to that. So I don't think Honda have. Maybe they have. So Ferrari, they probably, I think they would, but they're probably being hyper careful at the moment, aren't they? Because of the 2018 saga. But how do they measure that? and it's an interesting question posed by the Renault Sport boss there. It's maybe worth a video to look at that, actually. I don't know. But let's move on then to the final point, which is about Oscar Piastri. Now, Oscar Piastri coming into McLaren, it's been quite the saga, hasn't it? And there's been a lot around it. And Zach Brown has been quoting stuff, making quotes. Please do make sure you're smashing a like on the video and subscribing down below, guys. He thinks that Oscar Piastri is going to be a future star. He goes on to say, I think what's important is that we understand he's not raced for a year. We don't have a lot of testing. I wish there was more pre-season testing, not just for Oscar, just in general. He is effectively going in to get a day and a half of testing, which is not a lot. I think he's going to be competitive and push Lando. We just need to give him time to get into the team. He's a very serious individual, and he's ready to go. And I've actually not seen too much of Oscar Piastri being interviewed and things like that. I don't know if you guys have, so as to speak to the very serious individual stuff, but he does with his statistics, his track record of performance. He does strike me more of a George Russell than a Danny Rick, right? In terms of his attitude. And it's going to be really interesting to see how high he pushes Lando. Now, I've said for a while, if Oscar Piastri in his first season can score 70% of the points that Lando Norris can in his first season, then I deem that a successful season for Oscar Piastri in his first season. If he scores more than 70% of the points that Lando Norris does, really good season. If he beats Lando Norris, that's a resetting of many people's barometers on how good Oscar Piastri is and how good Lando Norris is. So it's interesting. It's interesting. How what would you deem in the last few minutes? What would you deem as a successful season for Oscar Piastri? Do you think he's going to flop? Do you think he's going to be a success? Do you think he'll push Lando Norris? Let me know down in the comments. I think he's going to push Lando Norris. I think this kid's the real deal. I really do. And I can see why McLaren went to bat for him legally to get him and things like that. Sorry about the camera cutting out, guys. I have ordered new parts to try and sort that out and make that better. But do let me know in the comments if you think Oscar Piastri. Well, what do you think of him in general? Because I think he's going to be rapid. I really do. But I think it will take him a little bit of time. I don't think he's gonna like Lewis Hamilton it with his rookie season. But everything is there that he's gonna be a serious driver, right? A serious driver. And this new breed of drivers, and I do call them that. Now I'm getting a bit older. The new breed of drivers are just different, aren't they? When you look at your George Russells, your Max Verstappens, I mean, he's been about a while now, but George Russells, Max Verstappens, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris. Lando Norris is funny, but he seems to be extremely serious about what he's doing. Charles Leclerc, they're different. I think while even back in the day you had drivers being brought up doing something, I think it was maybe more of a purely driving stance, back in the day. I think now these kids literally live it from very young, be that the physical, mental, nutritional side of things. I think they're really like bred for it, I don't know how else to put it. And it's crazy, really, because I think old school drivers, well, you've got a few different old schools, really, haven't you? You've got really back in the day where it was gentlemen, rich men driving. And then you moved into the sort of what I would term the pre-Schumacher era, where they were sportsmen and they were professionals. And then I think post-Schumacher, elite professional driving, I think like Schumacher era was elite Grand Prix driver in all aspects was born, and now it's going to another. Am I the only one thinking that? I feel like it's going to another level now with the drivers, because I think as an adult, Schumacher moved things forward. And I'm not on about just purely driving ability. I'm talking about as a package, you know. He really looked at the fitness, really looked at the nutrition. But I think these kids are doing that basically from birth. I don't feel like I'm making that up. I feel like it's a thing. I feel like it's a thing. Now I'm talking about it. They were all in carts, still in nappies. Basically, dude. Yeah, basically. But I digress a little bit. That is the first TSKF1 of the new year. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I'm going to try and promote this, that I'm back doing this. I'm going to try and make more content on this channel, because I honestly feel like this could be a really good year for TSKF1. Everything in the background shows that people want this content, be it the live stream in the morning for their sort of morning dose of F1 news, or the individual videos that I make. So I'm really going to try and make videos more, and I'm going to endeavor to be live 9 a.m. every morning, but sometimes life gets a little bit in the way, like yesterday. I'm going to be live over on Twitch at twitch.tv/pitlanes in a few minutes. I'm going to be riding around as a cowboy on Red Dead Redemption 2 today. But please do make sure you've subscribed and smash the like button, because it always helps here. I'll be live over there in just a few minutes, and I'll be back here first thing in the morning, 9 a.m. Cheers, guys. See you later.